All right, let's talk about taxes right now. Paying taxes is a responsibility that we all share. So imagine our surprise here when we found out that there's an entire subdivision of houses in Kaufman County that is not on the property rolls. What's more, it's owned by a group using the Lord's name to do it. Tanya Iser looks into it.
This land's been in my family for 3 generations.
Jimmy Joe Vrzalik is a proud landowner. He remembers his grandfather farming this patch of Kaufman County east of Dallas using mules.
It's special to me. I feel like it's my legacy.
And part of owning land, his family has paid taxes for decades.
That's why I feel it's only fair that everybody that has land and structures in Kaufman County pay their fair share.
He doesn't think that's happening. Take a look at what is 15 miles east of Vrzalik's place. It's a gated compound. It belongs to a group called Gospel for Asia. On the property, there's more than 80 single-family homes. Yet the group doesn't pay a dime in property taxes for those houses. Why is that? Well, they have a religious exemption. Vrzalik, a former county commissioner, says it just doesn't make sense.
It's not fair that the people in the subdivision next door to them are paying their proper share for the services they receive.
2012, Gospel for Asia told the Kaufman Appraisal District the houses were for clergy residences. Houses for clergy, called a parsonage, are exempt from property taxes under Texas law.
If there's 85 pastors living in those houses, more power to them. That's great. That means we are saving a lot of people.
Tom Slaberski used to work for Gospel for Asia.
And this was our house that we lived in right here.
Slaberski lived in a house for a year and ran the group's website. Are you a minister?
No. No, I'm just a follower of Christ.
Did you ever think you were living in a parsonage?
Definitely not.
So if the property tax records say that the house you were living in was a parsonage, would that surprise you?
Definitely surprised me.
On its website, Gospel for Asia says its fundraising and missionary work is serving impoverished families in India and throughout Asia. But there's big questions about how they spend their donations. The group's being sued by donors who say their contributions didn't go to the poor. Donors claim it was spent in the United States to develop the Wills Point compound. Gospel for Asia has denied all wrongdoing in court filings. 2 years ago, the Evangelical Council for Financial Accountability terminated Gospel for Asia's membership for failure to comply with financial oversight standards.
So they were a charter member of ECFA and they were kicked out of it after 36 years.
Gospel for Asia declined repeated on-camera interview requests. A spokeswoman says the exemptions were not granted under the pretense that all houses would be occupied by clergy. But documents we discovered show otherwise.
Hey, I'm Tanya Iser with Channel 8. You live in one of those houses? You do? Are you a pastor?
Our questions have triggered a review of the group's tax-exempt status by Kaufman County tax officials.
And as we all know, that is the Gospel for Asia location.
At the appraisal district meeting last week, we caught up with some of Gospel for Asia's representatives. Are all those houses occupied by clergy?
All of them are occupied by ministers of the gospel.
That's Brian Couric of Gospel for Asia. With him, attorney Steve Koch, who denied the exemption was based on all the houses being occupied by clergy.
Part of the houses are occupied by clergy. Part of the houses are associated with the school.
How fair, though, do you think it is for the taxpayers that are paying taxes?
I think actually it is very fair. If you look at what this ministry does in the world, the balance tilts in favor of the ministry.
Robert Mott is one of the state's top experts in property tax law.
According to our Constitution, the legislature is to exempt only actual places of religious worship and parsonages.
But when it comes to cases challenging religious exemptions, they are very hard to win.
It becomes the government versus God. And in this state, in this country, you know how people are going to fall out on that issue.
Vrzalik will continue to lodge his complaints.
Hey, don't be hoggish now. Everybody gets a bite.
Until everyone pays their fair share. Tanya Iser, Channel 8 News.
All right, the Kaufman County Appraisal District tells us about this, that as part of its review as Gospel for Asia's tax status, it has requested updated exemption applications, but it has yet to receive them. So we're going to stay on this and we'll keep you updated as to what we find here.